Hello everyone, my name is Eli Rojas, and for my teen space evaluation, I chose Teenscape, the young adult department at the Los Angeles Public Library Central Library in downtown Los Angeles. So what we're looking at here is LAPL's 360 virtual tour feature that they have available on their website. So even though I do work at this library in the Access Services department, which is right over here, the office is back there, I decided to use this feature instead of taking pictures or recording a video because I did feel a little awkward having to go through here and recording the patrons or the staff members here. And regardless, I think this feature is pretty neat and sick. Even if you've never visited the library and you would like to see what it's like, you can go through here and walk through the entire library. Also, there's multiple ways to get up to the Teenscape area, like the one that we just went through those stairs back there. There's also these stairs over here, and there's the elevator here, and there's the escalators over here. So for this presentation, I'm going to walk through the main parts of Teenscape and connect what I observed to course concepts about teen library spaces. My main argument about the Teenscape department is that it is a strong example of a dedicated teen space because it gives teens a visible department inside a major public library. At the same time, there are places that this space can improve. They can make teen ownership more visible. They can update some of the data signage. They can add a clear, quiet study area, and they can also refresh areas that feel worn or less visually current. So to begin, one of the strengths of the Teenscape is its location. It is located inside the Central Library, which is LAPL's major downtown civic library. And then within that library, it is located inside one of the most touristy or famous areas, I guess you can say, the Rotunda. So this matters because it shows teens that they are not being hidden in a corner or treated as an afterthought. Instead, they have a recognizable department within a very important public area that gets a lot of foot traffic. So in terms of the course concept, that space reflects power and value. The Teenscape department, I think, communicates that teens belong in the library and deserve their own area. The identity space, it's also clear. Teenscape has its own signage, its own name, its own service areas. It's not just a shelf of young adult books. And then when you walk in here, you see the variety that they have. This is the fiction section. And then when you walk in, there is more signage. And then they have signed more signage that points users towards librarians, computers, study tables, the TV lounge, DVDs, graphic novels, magazines, manga, and nonfiction. This helps teens understand that the area is meant for them and that it supports different kind of library use, not just like stereotypical teen library use. Teenscape as a department also has an important history. LAPL describes it as one of the early libraries within a library, designed specifically for teens by teens. So the original design was shaped with input from the local teen library users. And those teens, they made a list of things that they would want to see in the department, and they listed things like group study tables, computers, TV or movie viewing area, periodicals, printing, and student-produced murals or graphics. And that history is important because it shows that Teenscape was not only designed for teens, but originally shaped with teen input. So looking at the layout of this department, Teenscape has several strong features. There are computer areas, study tables, shelving, lounge chairs, bean bags. They have display areas along the walls, like here and up here on the walls. So this variety is important because teens, they don't all use the library in the same way. Some teens may come here to do homework. May want to browse the manga selection that they have. They do have a large manga selection that hugs across the wall over here. They also may want to access some of the graphic novels that they have over here. Some may want to use the computers or just meet with their friends, or some teens just want a comfortable place to relax after school. So in that sense, Teenscape works better than a basic young adult collection because it supports both academic and recreational use. So the computer area, I believe, is one of the strongest parts of the space. Teenscape provides access to computers that teens can use for homework, research, internet access, database, creating or sending applications, and just personal projects in general. And the layout of the computer area also supports some group-friendly use. They have open seating, and the teams can work near one another. They can share their screens. They can ask each other questions while completing schoolwork or creative projects. And this supports the idea that Teamscape is a learning space. And because the computer and lounge areas already support this social collaborative use, one improvement that I believe can be seen or implemented in this department is to create a clear, quiet area. Some teens may need a calmer place to read, to study, to focus, or to decompress after a long day. And the no budget recommendation will be to designate one existing table, maybe over here, one of these tables, or one existing section, like this section across the wall over here, as or as designating it as a quiet study area. They can use signage or use the existing furniture. They can also maybe in this area back here with the wall, they can create more prominent dividers between the computers so they can feel more private. And I believe this will create a better balance between collaborative learning and individual focus without changing the overall layout that already exists. Another important area is the lounge and TV area right here. I think this space gives the teens a less formal place to sit, relax, and gather. And this matters because teens they don't always use public spaces in the same way than an adult may use it. So lounge seating and beanbags allow for more comfortable and informal use. This helps Teenscape feel less like a traditional adult reading room and more like a space designed with teen behavior in mind. It might make them more comfortable to pick up a book and read. However, I do think that this area right here can be used more intentionally. Every time I walked here, especially midday, which makes sense because the teens might be in school, but it's always kind of quiet, this area. And I feel like this furniture could be used to promote more conversation. Maybe they could do more activities here, like, I don't know, performances. I do know that they hold teen council meetings here, but I think this area does promote conversation. They just need to promote more activities to maybe attract more teen patronage. And this would help the lounge function not only as a place to sit, but also as a flexible meeting space and participation space. Another important part of this department is the service point. So Teamscape has a visible desk and staff present that I think is very important in this area. Bec this is important because they help the teen with more than just providing an area for them to sit or read. Staff can provide reference help, readers advisory, technology support, program information, and just overall relationship building. And I particularly like the design of this reference desk because it is right in the center and it is open from all four directions, which makes it more welcoming in my opinion. And it makes it welcoming, like I said, instead of feeling disciplinary, like it might be in school. I feel like a strong teen space should not feel like a place where teens are constantly being watched from its behavior. And although it does kind of like a watchtower here, where the librarian or staff member can look in all directions, but I have noticed that the staff here are very good about not feeling or not making the teens feel like they are being watched, and making the space feel like it's a place where they can ask for help and participate. So Teenscape, the department, also functions as a program space. They host a lot of teen center programs here that are connected usually to art, zine creation, and other creative activities. This is important because it shows that Teenscape is not just like another passive space in the library for studying or browsing. It's also a place where teens can gather, they can collaborate on ideas, they can share interests and participate in library life. And I think this Teenscape department connects to very well to the Nordic Force space model. Which includes learning space, meeting space, inspiration space, and performative space. I do believe they can work a little more in the performative space. Like I said earlier, I do believe they can use this open area. But Teenscape does work as a learning space through its computers, its study areas, and staff support. They also have a lot of homework resources. It also works as a meeting space through the lounge tables and TV area. It's a place where teens can gather together. It also works as an inspiration space through the manga, the graphic novels, the displays, the browsing areas. Like I mentioned multiple times, I believe it has potential as a performative space. And out of the four spaces, I think Teenscape is strongest as a learning and inspiration space. The computer areas, the collections that they have, the displays, these are all clear strengths. And an area that I believe it could be stronger is the performative space, especially displaying more teen ownership, especially more modern teen ownership. Because historically, this department has a strong history of teen input, but I feel like the current teen voices could be more visible in the room. So it's like a no budget improvement that they could do or implement is using the existing bulletin boards or shelves or wall areas to display more teen creative work. It's like this space over here is very empty, I feel like. So is this bulletin as well. And I know they do change this one a lot for the seasonal months. Yeah, they can do stuff like drawings, poetries. They can also do like something that I think would be cool would be book reviews or like the teens can make like their own teen picks like section where they recommend books to other teen patrons. Another limitation that I noticed is that some parts of the Teenscape department do feel a little worn or dated or less clean than ideal for a teen-centered environment. Keeping in mind that this department was designed and created in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and you could very much see that influence in the coloring, the carpet, the signage, very much like a retro vibe. And oftentimes when I visit here, the carpet areas and the computer areas do feel a little dirty, I will say. The furniture, the signs, the displays, and these high use areas, they look dusty, cluttered, visually tired. And teens, I feel like they might interpret that as the library showing how much they care. If the space that they're working and reading in is, dirty or cluttered. What does that say about how much the librarians or the library cares about them? So I think cleanliness and upkeep, it's not just like a cosmetic detail, it's also part of the service experience. And because the assignment does focus on no budget recommendations, I'm not suggesting like a major renovation. Instead, I'm suggesting on focusing on what they already have. So first, like I mentioned, they could do rotating team displays. Second, I think the lounging area over here can be, especially here and here, I feel like it can be rearranged better to support more group conversation and lead team-led activities. I do know that they hold team councils here every now and then. Excuse me. I also believe that, like I said, mentioned earlier, they can create a more clearly identified quiet study area. Fourth, I do think that some of the signage can be updated with temporary or clearer or more modern language because they do have some dated phrasing like hot topics on the net. No one really calls it the net anymore, I feel like. And another thing that I feel like teens don't really connect with anymore is periodicals. It might have been, in the early 2000s, it might have been more periodicals might have more influence on teen culture than they do now. Cyberspace, also another sign that I feel is kind of dated. I do like it, the retro vibes, and I feel like some teens are bringing back like the Y2K vibes they call it. But still, I feel like some of this decorations, signage, and uh, carpentry can be updated. Also, the colors they feel very like early 2000s. Another thing is some of these like I mentioned earlier, the teens can do like their own team picks section, um, creating more programs, making team participation more visible at the events. So if there's like an event where they create something, putting other creations somewhere for display in the department. So I think overall, Teenscape is a meaningful and important teen space. It gives teens a visible department inside a major civic library. I do believe that it supports learning, browsing, technology use. I do think it promotes socializing and relaxing. Me and my friends have been here multiple times during summer, and we liked it here. It was a quiet space where we could look at manga. And I think historically they do have shown that teen input mattered, and I do believe that they should display that a little more. And the goal is not just to make this area look newer, but just to maximize the potential for teens, even though I think this is already a very useful and influential department, but I do feel like there's some points where they can maximize the teen experience just to show teens that they are valued members of the library and valued members of the community. But yeah, that is the Teenscape area. I think it's one of the best or better teen spaces in libraries in general that I have seen at least. But yeah, I think definitely worth a visit if you've never been here. Also, the library, I think worth a visit. But if you can't, there's also this 360 virtual tour feature that you can use on lpl.org. They also have like a lot of information that you can see. But yeah, pretty much it.